Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm and sunny day. It is Wednesday, the 9th of March, and I'm back at the Read Nook with a cat who's not ours and a nice cup of tea. And some parcels to unbox. And the first one I'm going to take a look at is this one. I've just got my partner's curiosity because, somebody sent it me to that address, and with all due respect, I wouldn't claim to be great. It's very nice, but Anyway, let's get this open if I can. The tag does not want to peel. Oh, sorry, cat. Go. Oh, and he's off again. And what I've got in here is Cups of Clearwine. Now, this is a resource book for RuneQuest, Roleplaying, and Glorantha. It is, basically, it's available in the Johnstown Compendium, and it describes the location within the town or city of Clearwine in Sartar. Essentially a community centred on a courtyard, and it follows on from Dregs of Clearwine, which showed a lower class, a working class in neighbourhood in the corner of Clearwine, and this does the same but for a middle class group. Cups of Clearwine is a source book for RuneQuest, Roleplaying, and Glorantha, detailing the lives of ordinary people who can help you have extraordinary adventures. Cups has details for a dozen households, each with plot hooks for the area and beyond. There are food and wine shops, crafters, and old retired warriors here. There's a Vendreth who left the Gracelands, lives next to a Troll King Night Watch guard. Bespoke art and maps bring the area to life. Every major NPC is drawn to share their personality and markings. There's a roof map and corresponding footprint map, and the ground floor map of a rich middle-class house. Detailed households include Brudelia Norimel, an Israelian courtesan with a marked resemblance to a Queen of Nutshett. Tefira and Claw, a Telmori and her wolf brother, who will not leave even when asked. Tanamak the Magnificent, an entertainer and agent for shows. Senna Stoneshaper, Australian initiate and gem carver, and her redsmith husband Briar, and the drinkers at the House of Cups, owned by Alcina and visited by anyone and everyone. So, this is a neighbourhood for the player characters to visit and interact with and get involved in the lives of the inhabitants. And as you can see, so there's the style of artwork for the drawn NPCs. And we've got a full list of contents there. And as we go through, we've got just an overview, and then this here provides an elevation view of the neighbourhood, and that will go through and change as you view different households. So it's known as Sandy Corner, and here we have an overview, basically the rooftop view of the neighbourhood, and basically the floor plan map of the neighbourhood. So, which is a bit smaller, but it's it's not necessarily that detailed, but it's detailed enough for really what you want, because this is not really a place in which you're going to go and have much in the way of fights. This is not an environment for you to battle as such. It's an environment for you to interact, make purchases from, such as the perfume maker, and here we have again Tefira and Claw, with whom they have become friends. Then we've got the tenant farmers, and as you can see, each of these entries has got a box here of plot hooks. So that's plot hooks pertaining to the household, and each of the major members of the household is given a decent illustration like that, so you can see their markings, and then they've got the full stats as well. So they're fully interactive characters, fully detailed in there. And so you've got quite a lengthy description of the tenant farmer's household, and there's a description of all the other inhabitants through here as well. So there's not just there's not just sort of like the main ones. There's more, but essentially they are lesser characters. But I mean, the play characters can still interact with them. You know, we have the richest sort of like family, the landholders, who basically are the landlords for the tenant farmers. And all of them sort of like have stories and relationships, and they're connected. You can trace them around the whole of the region. And then we've got the wine woman, and basically she runs the wine shop. And then we've got notes in here because it's important. There's a couple of NPCs in here who are brewers and winemakers. So we've got notes here on the Minlister cult, which obviously will be given more detail in the cults of Glorantha source book. We've got hot food shops. You've got somewhere to go to get a cup of wine and then get some hot food. So there's a discussion of we've got so how basically food shops work at least in Clearwine and perhaps all across Sartar, and also sort of like the venue that the player characters might come across when they they patronise the establishment. And there's even discussion here of waste management. Sorry, see they're trying to do this, get this round the cat. And so, the question is, not something necessarily that you think of when you're doing your fantasy role playing, except in a few circumstances. What happens to your night soil? So you've got a box text there that just covers that. It just for your information, however you want to use it. And so there's the entertainer mentioned in the front back cover, and the Trollkin Night Guide, because there's been some trouble in the region. So and accompanying that, so there's a section on darkness creatures. So Clearwine is much like the rest of Sartar when it comes to trolls and the trolls. Just with diaspora, troublemakers are dealt with, peaceful trolls are generally welcomed, and merchants taxed. So there's just supplementary information which builds and builds. We have a cursed house, and that's important. The cursed house essentially is an abandoned house which nobody likes to go near, and that actually figures importantly in the scenario in here. And then we have the courtesan, who will be an interesting encounter for anyone from Esrolia. And we have a more detailed plan of her house, and especially this is a rich courtesan's house. The jewelers, and many of these characters, in here there's fewer links downwards to the dregs of Clearwine. There's more links perhaps up to the upper city and the court of Queen Laika. Similarly, more craftsmen. We've got a glass maker as well, and notes on how glass making is handled. So not necessarily information that is going to figure all the time, be important all the time, but if you want it, but it's there for your reference. And then we've even got a quick guide to snacks with recipes. With recipes, you can actually make. And so, as I showed you earlier, okay, so all the households have got these boxes of plot hooks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plot hooks there, and then you get to the back. You have. Let's have a look. You've got 1, 2. You've got a page of general plot hooks, accompanied by standardised NPCs, followed by an adventure, which is set in the cursed house, and that's because the presence of the cursed house is essentially making people ill. and easy, so the neighbourhood sort of like hires someone to look into it and investigate it, and it's a really good scenario for anyone who is a Hela or Ingisi worshipper. Obviously, you'll need more information upon sort of like certainly the Hela cult at some point. But this scenario really nicely does capture the sort of the magical realism of Glorantha and how that can be brought into play very easily. So, can I recommend this? I mean, yes, absolutely. If you are looking for essentially a snapshot of life in a large town in Glorantha, and you want to interact with them and sort of like bring them alive, then this is such a good supplement for that. And this is kind of like on the same kind of level as the player characters, because most of them will be sort of a free and middle class for the most part. Cups of Clearwine is obviously the player characters don't necessarily will be of a greater status. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a couple of places to go, which is the wine shop and then the hot food shop, and then there's places to purchase essentially gifts and investigate and then get involved with adventures there. So Cups of Clearwine, available on the Johnstown Compendium. I'm hoping there'll be a sequel to this. It's such a lovely sort of like setting, and it's so accessible because it packs in, it's what, 63 pages, lots and lots of adventure potential. In most cases, sort of like not sort of great heroic adventures, but ordinary but interesting adventures at the same time. It's adventuring it happens at all levels, if you see what I mean, and this kind of serves that. So yeah, I would thoroughly recommend it if you're running a campaign set in and around Clearwine. Definitely get this. Anyway, that's Cups of Clearwine, available on the Johnstown Compendium. If you have enjoyed watching this unboxing in the Nook, then please do click on that like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a parcel and a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, then please do hit that subscribe button. But in the meantime, I've still got a cup of tea. I've got a cat who's not ours on my lap, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.